Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Ted Lasso Season 1, Episode 7, Make Rebecca Great Again is the episode this week. We find ourselves and we find AFC Richmond getting ready to hit the road. They are going to take on a team in which they have not beaten in 60 years in Liverpool, the team of Everton. So everybody's bummed out. Starts with Ted very, depressed as he has been. Not really depressed, but the divorce papers come in. So he's still... this is still an episode where Ted isn't the shining beam of light, but things get on moving. Obviously, Rebecca is a big part of this. She is not celebrating, but mourning, I guess. It would be her anniversary date while she's going on. So Keeley decides to tag along on the road trip to keep Rebecca company and cheer her up. This episode has a lot of laughs, has a lot of tears. I really enjoyed this episode. But yeah, so they haven't won in 60 years. Of course, Ted and Coach Beard are going to Nate. Nate is the one who knows a lot about this team, and they ask Nate for some ideas, his thoughts on the team. Which that comes back a little bit later. But they all go. There's a funny bit of Nate being locked in the storage space, the luggage area on their tour bus, which is kind of funny. They pull him out just as they leave. But they head on out of town to Liverpool to face Everton. And when they get there, it's a nice hotel. Of course, Rebecca and Keeley are they're not sharing a room, but they're, in a suite that has adjoining rooms. And they find out that one of Keeley's gigs back in the day that she doesn't even remember was being a host. When you go into a hotel, you turn on the TV and there's like a host on the TV, kind of like a TV concierge telling you about all the restaurants that are local. So they find out that Keeley was one of her gigs, which is kind of a funny bit when they walk in and Rebecca finds out, which is fun. We also get to meet one of Rebecca's friends, Flo Collins, a.k.a. Sassy Smurf. She gets introduced. She meets, I assume she lives in Liverpool, so she came out to see Rebecca again. And it's an interesting, you get to see a little bit more, you get to hear a little bit more about Rebecca and how she was before Rupert, and how Rupert kind of locked her away for 6 years. And Flo has a daughter that misses Rebecca, and it's a character that really helps flesh out Rebecca in a lot of ways, humanizes her in a lot of ways, and it's you get to see how you get to hear about how Rebecca was a lot different back in the day. You kind of get this little hint that she's a great singer, but a great character nonetheless, a character that Keeley falls in love with. As far as trifecta of friends, they seem to be instantly fast friends, which is kind of lifting emotionally, positivity. So that's great. You get to see Ted is getting a little drunk because he's doesn't want to sign these papers. Nate comes by he's getting Ted is getting harassed, but there's he keeps getting texts from his ex-wife. Well, I guess his soon-to-be ex-wife, asking if he signed the papers. He gets contacted by her legal representatives to see what the holdup is, and it's just something you could see is wearing on Ted. He's one of the nights after they first get there. He gets all drunk, and Nate comes by to like give him his notes. Like he actually wrote down notes and his thoughts on the team of how they might be able to win against Everton. And you see a drunk Ted open the door and scold Nate, which is, similar to the last episode where, Ted goes off on Jamie, or went off on Jamie in the practice room about practice. You saw Ted angry when he found out that they gave Jamie back, and yelling at Rebecca in her office. Just you seeing Ted not acting like Ted. You're seeing clearly a guy that's normally full of positivity and light be kind of crushed, and you can tell that throughout this episode that's happening, that's kind of weighing on him quite a bit, especially when he goes off on Nate, and it's humanizing to see that Ted can get angry, because it's always strange when somebody has overwhelming positivity. They have to have another side, and it's always curious to see how dark that other side can be. So you're seeing Ted's dark side in a lot of ways. But in the next morning, Ted makes sure to pull Nate aside and apologizes to Nate for his thing, and also tells him that he read his thoughts on what he wrote on the team. And he encourages, he just makes Nate tell the team. He's like, I love what you said, but I can't tell the team this stuff. You have to do it. He's really, really doing a good job as a leader. There's a fine line between setting your, teaching people how to work with your system and like setting them up for success. And there's generally what managers do is another thing, which is just throwing them under the bus or passing the buck of responsibility. Ted is great at really finding the things that people shine at and letting them do their thing. Whether it's Coach Beard and strategies, or Nate understanding the team and the sport in a way that Ted and Coach Beard do not. Ted understands how to really highlight those skills and those strengths. And it leads to a great scene. It's a scene where, Nate's a timid, quiet guy. He's just the equipment manager before, and now he's becoming this big part of the team where he's, he's the third coach in a lot of ways. I don't think they've made it official, but he's basically the third coach. And he starts reading these notes of these players, going player by player, telling them what he thinks and how they should improve and what needs to be done. And it turns into this hilarious roast because he's just talking shit, which is hilarious. It's amazing to see Nate come out and talk shit, and you see the team kind of enjoying it, and you see Nate kind of getting, he's feeding off of it. He loved it. And he gets to Roy, and of course Roy, being Roy, makes him tell him to his face. And it was a great thing about how Roy he needs to use his superpower of anger. He used to run on the pitch like he was angry at the grass. He tapped into Roy's anger. And I love that scene because that's what made me play good when I played pickup basketball as a kid growing up. Anytime I would get angry, like somebody would, do some like petty fouls or just try to cheat in some way, or even if they're like talking shit was a huge part of it. But anytime I could like channel anger, I would get on fire. I would just be sinking 3 points from everywhere. Turnaround, jump shots, it's like, get out of here. Assists left and right. Like I had eyeballs all around my skull, passing, no look, passing, behind the back pass. Like you don't want to get me angry, right? I don't turn into the Hulk. I just turn into a slightly better version of a basketball player, or at least I used to. And, it was kind of fun to see that being the thing that fuels Roy, and it worked because they won. They won 1-0 after 60 years. This team that was put together with the goal of destruction is actually succeeding, and things, despite Jamie no longer being on the team, Ted is finding ways to make it work. And aside from the title of this, like Make Rebecca Great Again, I don't like that type of a phrase. Is like every variation of that phrase is just makes my skin crawl. But it was an episode where you get to see Rebecca really flourish. So after their win, they all go out and celebrate. Ted meets Sassy. He's looking for a fax machine so he can take care of this divorce papers. He meets Sassy, having not met her before. He meets before the game. And then after the game where they're celebrating, she shows up again, and they had this really cute. Clearly, she was into him when they met in the lobby before the game. He called her Sassy Smurf, and it's like, I mean, it's also kind of cool to see Ted flirt a little bit. Like he's real smooth for being a cheeseball, and Sassy is, she's a sexy woman, who's kind of an alpha herself. So it was a fun scene, their kind of interaction in the lobby, but then afterwards, they meet each other again. After the team wins, they all go out to karaoke, which is an amazing scene. Also, you see Coach Beard really letting loose, seeing all the teammates let loose. You also get to see Rebecca sing, and it seemed like the actress who plays Rebecca is actually singing the Let It Go song from Frozen, and amazing. It's like listening to people sing well makes me emotional. Like that scene just made me emotional because it was her kind of getting back to who she is, singing her song, really letting it go. It's also a scene where you see Ted start to have a panic attack. It really just, everything just kind of a roller coaster of emotions, I'm sure. The constant stress prior to the game, not the game itself being stressful, the high of winning the game, and then the low of being reintroduced to the reality that your marriage is falling apart. He has a panic attack and heads out to the street, and Rebecca follows him and takes care of him. It's a really sweet episode where you're seeing all these people in this team really kind of coming together as like close family, like really caring about each other. Keeley really caring about Rebecca and the fact that she's going through this hard time during this anniversary where she's, being treated like crap in the public because of the things. You're seeing Rebecca, starting to realize, especially after she found out Ted bakes the biscuits, which she didn't mention at all in this episode, but her comforting Ted and telling him to go to offering to give him her car or whatever to go back to the hotel or to go back home, and it's just really sweet. And you're also seeing like Sam, you could tell, has a crush on Rebecca. Like all of the love interest stuff, Keeley and Roy kind of have a thing. Roy walks her back and they have a kiss outside of her hotel room, but that's it. So Keeley's like confused by the whole thing, but Roy's just being respectful and being a gentleman. But yeah, it's kind of a roller coaster of an episode as well. You see, so Ted goes back to his hotel room to sign the papers. After he signed the papers, he's watching TV, hanging out, and he hears a knock at his door, opens the door, and it is Sassy Smurf. Flo is at his door, and without any words being spoken, she walks right in. That's kind of the end of the episode. It's a great episode. The progressions of the different relationships, whether they be romantic relationships. Oh, also, you got to see Rebecca not only letting go in song form, But also she, trying to shake the rust off, hooking up with a waiter from the restaurant earlier when her and Flo and Keeley were all bonding at dinner. Flo was planting the seeds for Rebecca to hook up with the waiter. So part of the end of this, where everybody's kind of, you're seeing Keeley and Roy, kind of that fire start to catch. You're seeing the sassy Smurf and Ted flame, whether that's going to be a thing, which, that's also, these are all like fresh out of relationship kind of people. Ted probably the most, well, I guess Ted and Keeley probably the most fresh, but Ted was in it's a much bigger type of relationship ending. Keeley's freshly out of a relationship. Rebecca is freshly out of a relationship. And, you're seeing all of them kind of going through similar things in different ways. It was a really great episode. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to see the next episode as everybody's kind of, getting together. You got Nate really finding his footing as, being an assertive coach. You're seeing all of the love kind of and care that everybody has for each other. They're really coming together as a team. And it was a great episode. So that was Ted Lasso, Season 1, Episode 7, Make Rebecca Great Again on Apple TV. Until next week, get yourself some amazing coffee over at stationhousecoffee.com and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. It's the place that makes the small batch, single origin, premium coffee. It's brewed in Thetford Center, Vermont. It's shipped directly to you. Go over to stationhousecoffee.com and order yourself some amazing coffee today and let them know The Ray Taylor Show sent you. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace. Oh!